So go through the job descriptions and see if there's other job descriptions in A and B categories that may be a better fit. The reality is that over the years, the express entry pool has gotten more and more competitive. And that's because, each year with every announcement that Canada is taking more immigrants, more and more immigrants are applying to come to Canada. How's it going? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Wilma. I'm an award-winning community leader, an entrepreneur, and my channel is dedicated to helping you succeed in Canada as an immigrant. And today, welcome first of all. Today I'm answering a question about CRS points and if specific points are adequate to, come into Canada. It's a question everybody wants to know about. Like, I have 450 points, I have 400 points. Can I make it? So if that's you and you're curious about this, first of all, do me a favor by liking this video and subscribing to my channel. Thanks for doing that, and let's get started. This question here, I've got my phone. I'm going to summarize it briefly. It says, I went to apply for the express entry program. I'm tired of Europe and their necessarily drama. I did the evaluation and I have a score of 477. Do you think I've got a decent chance? And it's a good question because people always want to know. It's like, is my number good enough? And the answer is that it really, really depends. The reality is that, with every announcement of, a huge pool of immigrants being accepted into Canada, more and more immigrants want to come to Canada. But unfortunately, the number of immigrants being accepted to Canada on an annual basis has not really dramatically increased. So that means that you're essentially competing with very, very qualified people. I've got my phone here, so let's refer back to some recent invitations, what the cutoff numbers were. We can kind of see over the past few years what the cutoff numbers have been. So in March 8th, 2021, I talked about this on my channel. We had the provincial nominee program and we had 671 invitations issued, and the lowest score was 739. In February 13th, we had the Canadian Experience class, and I talked about this on my channel because 27,000 invitations were issued. The lowest score was 75, but obviously that would not really apply to this person because this person is applying from overseas, and this specific program invitation was for people in the Canadian Experience class. Back to the provincial nominee program, February 10th, 654 applications, and the cutoff was 720, pretty high. And then January 21, Canadian Experience class, 4,000 applications invited, and 454 was the cutoff. And then we have, let's go back a bit to, December 23rd, 2020, no program specified, and the cutoff was 468. And then August 6, 2020, we have the federal skilled trades, and the cutoff was 415 with 250 applications. Looking at the provincial nominee program, it looks like, those numbers are in the 700 to 800. So depending on what stream you're wanting to apply for, 477 may not cut it at all. So you may want to do a few things to really bump up your points. So I mentioned in a video before, maybe learn French. That's an option. Or maybe depending on your scores in, listening and writing and things like that, that could be an option there as well. The language tests are really formulaic, and so you need to make sure you're doing practice tests beforehand. I don't know if that sounds obvious, but it's really important because even for native speakers of English who are maybe wanting to immigrate from the US, they don't get perfect scores either because these tests want you to write in a very specific way, which is why practicing matters. So it's possible you could bump up your scores by, getting your test scores more perfect, learning a second language, getting your credentials evaluated, all that good stuff. Another thing to consider is also your NOT code. So NOT code A and B is really ideal, but unfortunately around NOT code C when applying from overseas is just not gonna happen, unfortunately. I hate to say that. The NOT code C jobs are jobs that usually call for high school or job specific training, and the example here is butchers, long haul drivers, food and beverage servers, and things like that. Like, we know Canada really wants immigrants here to have high skills, and NOT code C just doesn't cut it because it's not really a specific skill job that needs, any sort of certification essentially. And so if you're under a NOT code C, I'm just assuming if that's the case, go through, other job descriptions and see if there's a different job description under A and B that may be better fit. Because at the end of the day, it's not really a job title that matters too much. It's really about your job duties and what you're doing. So if maybe your job title is under C, but you see that the duties that you're doing fall under an A and B category, move over to A and B instead, because it just bumps up your chances for, you know, your application being accepted significantly. The final tip I'll give you is that you need to apply as soon as possible. Like I mentioned, each year the pool gets more competitive as more workers are applying. So, you know, the sooner you can get your application in the pool, the better. Once your application is in the pool, you can continue to improve your skills, you can continue to work on your application, but it's important that, you know, your application is in the pool as soon as possible, just so that you don't miss invitations to apply when they open up. So I know that sometimes people want to wait until the application is perfect or until they have, you know, this perfect score in mind. Don't wait. Don't do it. You know what? Procrastinating does not serve you any good. This is one instance where you need to not procrastinate. Get your application in the pool and continue to work on your application, because that's going to serve you better in the long run. I'll put the link for the NOC codes, and I'll also put the link so you can look at past express entry pools to see what the cutoff numbers were, because it's actually quite fascinating to look at this. So just to summarize, at 477, it really depends on how competitive your pool is, but I would also look into doing a few things to bump up my scores, like, you know, getting your credentials evaluated, improving your language, improving your writing, and maybe even picking up a second language. Also, looking into your NOC code and making sure that you have the right code selected. And for sure, also know that, you know, the more you gain work experience in your field, you are able to get more points as well. And then most importantly, just get the process started, get your application in the pool, and work on your application once it's already in the pool. Alrighty, I hope that was helpful to you. Let me know in the comments if you have advice for this person, if you've been able to get into Canada with a 477 score. I'd love to hear from you. And also don't forget to follow me on Facebook. I have a Facebook group, and I'd love to answer your questions there as well. Thanks so much for watching. Good luck in your immigration journey, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.